Welcome back to Common Sense, everybody. I'm Wendy Bell. It is supremely ludicrous that the federal government, using a blank check from the savings account of the American taxpayer, is swooping in to bail out Silicon Valley Bank in one of the richest donor-heavy zip codes in California. The people being bailed out for the bank's collapse are not average folk. These aren't plumbers or truck drivers or teachers, folks like we are. These are the one percenters, you know, the people Joe Biden likes to whisper lecture to.
Pay your fair share. Pay your fair share. Pay your fair share.
I mean, if I had to see it, you had to see it too. Creepy. It's what he says, right, when he bails out banks chock full of billionaire Democrat donors. Meantime, over at Pfizer, it's also all about the money. Wait, I mean your health. Honest. That was a mistake. Let's bring back our panel of talk radio hosts from across America. First up is the co-host of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show on 101.9 FM in St. Louis, Missouri, Chris Arps. Also, the host of Today with Dr. Wendy on KCBQ Radio, The Answer out of San Diego, and Wendy Patrick Daw. And finally, the host of the Barack Lurie show on AM 870, The Answer in Los Angeles, Barack Lurie. All right, Chris, you're up first. It is a billionaire bailout. That is what Silicon Valley Bank is getting after panicked customers rushed its branches, only to be shut out, their accounts shut down, Janet Yellen getting involved. That's never good. SVB was flush with cash, billions from the out-of-control government spending during COVID. And here comes Joe Biden with America's checkbook. What are your thoughts?
You know, I do have empathy for employees whose company had money in SVB and the bank went under, and there was talk that some of these employees may not get their payroll. But other than that, I have absolutely no sympathy. Some of these folks involved with SVB should be going to jail. We're hearing reports that before the bank collapsed, they took millions of dollars out of the bank. We're also hearing that the president of SVB was on the board of the San Francisco Federal Reserve, which was responsible for overseeing the bank. So this stinks to high heaven. I hope that we can get to the bottom of this. I hate bailouts, and this is a terrible thing for the American taxpayer.
Yeah, I can't agree with you any more than that. And Wendy, talk about hypocrisy with a capital H. Joe Biden admonishing the wealthy to pay their fair share, bailing out billionaires, completely ignores the folks who are really suffering in my neighborhood, just about 50 miles away in East Palestine, Ohio. These people need help. Do you think America is seeing the real picture here of winners and losers?
Well, I think that if they listen to common sense commentary, to quote your show, from both sides, then they will. You know, most people don't have $250,000 to put anywhere, worrying about whether more than that's going to be insured. But everybody can relate to the show me the money panic that we've seen over the weekend. Now, obviously, my legal advice in one word is diversify if you're deciding where to put your funds. But the practical implication of that, you know, I hope that they recognize that there are ways to cut their losses, regardless of whether President Biden says that they're going to be able to account for all of those deposits. I mean, pay off bills that you know are due so you don't have to go to the bank and get the money. Decide whether or not you need cash on hand to be able to withstand one of these bank closures happening in the future, which, by the way, is likely given what we just saw. And they also know to take what the president says with a grain of salt when you're looking at him talking about bailing out companies that knew better than to invest more than would be insured. That's what many people are really criticizing him for.
Yeah. Right, I agree. And you mentioned $250,000. Barack, that is exactly what the Biden administration has given the Ohio and Pennsylvania folks whose towns and rivers and farms were destroyed by that train derailment and toxic mushroom cloud of cancer-causing chemicals. HHS gave just $250,000 to open a health clinic for residents who feel sick. That's their bailout. Your thoughts?
Well, it's on the East Palestine situation. It's just unexcusable for what the Biden administration has not done. They go to Ukraine while at the same time this terrible thing has happened, and he doesn't bother to visit them for so many weeks. I don't know that he has visited them with any meaningful effort at all. As to the SVP people and generally to the customers, not only that, but the employees, they shouldn't worry because they're near San Francisco after all, and San Francisco is issuing reparations apparently, and a lot of these people will. So it's all good, it's all going to work out.
Who doesn't need $5 million per person? I mean, come on. Chris, and I want to bring you in here because I want to speak about cancer, okay? Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla went on CNBC earlier this week to talk about the pharmaceutical company's $43 billion acquisition of Seagen. It is a company whose cancer therapy Bourla describes as a turbocharged missile. Listen to what he said.
They are attacking the cancer cells and can make a huge difference. I would say this is something like the mRNA for vaccines. It is a disease for cancer. So we think that we can make a very big difference with this technology in our hands and provide a relief to the world at a scale that has not been seen before.
Chris, what do you think is the public's vibe on Big Pharma right now? Is everybody pretty well tapped out, or is this exciting news in your eyes?
Well, you would hope that it would be exciting news, but with Dr. Fauci, with this COVID situation, with the James O'Keefe Project Veritas exposure video of Pfizer, where it seems like they were engaging in gain-of-function research in order to profit and design a drug to combat a future pandemic, there's no trust in them at all. And I think this pivot to this cancer treatment, which is a good thing. We want to eliminate cancer, but I think they see that Americans aren't going to get 2 or 3 COVID shots a year as they suspected. I think they thought that was going to be their cash cow, and it's not going to happen. Americans aren't getting this vaccine, so they're going to have to transfer to something else.
Well, yeah, and Wendy, in my last 30 seconds, the FDA just said emergency use authorization for the 4th shot in 6-month-olds. Right? I mean, tell me what you thought about that.
I actually had the doctor that came up with the mRNA vaccine on my radio show. And one of the things he talked about is how he too followed the science and followed it in and out right out of the market for getting a 4th shot. So I don't think any company wants to liken itself to mRNA technology right now. I don't think the 4th shot's going to be very popular.
No, I agree with you guys. I love having you. Chris, Barack, Wendy, thank you so very much. You make sure you come on back.
Thank you.
Thank you.